Hi and welcome. I'm Lisa and I am so excited to be back sharing another card making tutorial with you. In this video, I'm going to show you some quick and simple masculine get well cards. Whimsy Stamps has just released a couple of really fun products that are going to make great masculine get well cards. So let's take a look at a few of those. We have the big BooBoo stamp set to the left. There are 16 stamps in total in that set. Now to the right, the BooBoo Manflu stamp set, there are 2 large images and 9 sentiments included in that one. We also have the Slimline Big BooBoo die set, and there are a total of 9 dies in this set. And while I'm not using that large Slimline bandage die in the video, I will be using the smaller dies. I do want to take advantage of this opportunity to show you how this die set can be used for other card sizes along with your Slimline cards. So during the video, I will talk more about a couple other products I'm using, but my main focus will be on the 3 that I just mentioned. So to save us some time, I stamped images onto express blended cardstock and colored them off screen with my Copic markers. I've placed a 110-pound card base in my MISTI. I'm using the FaDoodle dot stamp set, the image of 3 lines. I'm going to stamp with VersaFine Onyx Black ink on the lower third of my card base to ground this image. Otherwise, it might look like he's just floating there on top of our card base. Next, I'm going to grab the BooBoo Manflu stamp set and use the large Get Well Soon sentiment to the right of my image. Again, using that VersaFine Onyx Black ink to stamp this sentiment. Now, in addition to that largest die from the Comic Speech Bubble die set, I used the WTF Word die set to create my speech bubble. We set that aside for a second so we can go ahead and add our image by adding leftover mounting foam to the back of my image. I adhere him to my card base. And then I glued that speech bubble to the top of my card base. I wasn't satisfied with the result after gluing that speech bubble down. So I decided to remove it. And of course, in doing so, it peeled away some of the card base. Don't worry, simple fix for this. From black cardstock, I cut a new WTF speech bubble, and from silver foil cardstock, I cut the largest speech bubble. I'm using tape to layer the black speech bubble over the silver, and then tape to the back of the silver foil cardstock so I can adhere that back on the top of my card. I trimmed away the excess with my scissors, and then I was done, and I didn't have to worry about starting all the way over with that. Moving into card number 2. So in the MISTI, I'm placing a 110-pound card base. For this card's background, I'm using that same FaDoodle dot stamp set, the hollow circles image, and a light turquoise ink to stamp my background. Now along the bottom of the background, I'm going to stamp the word ouchie in a darker turquoise ink. I'm going to repeat the process of stamping it to ensure that all the letters are completely stamped. I'm using my image as a guide here to determine exactly where to stamp the rest of my sentiment. So once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to take the rest of my sentiment, line it up, and stamp it out with that same dark turquoise ink. Again, I repeat the process just to ensure that all the letters are completely stamped. I'm going to use leftover foam adhesive again to adhere the image to the left of the sentiment. And there is a lot of variety in this big BooBoo stamp set when it comes to fonts and sizes. I love this stamp set. So let's go ahead and color in our big word. I'm using a blue color, but you could most certainly use any color that you preferred. Now to finish off the first 2 cards, I'm using Scrapbook.com's Neutrals A2 paper pad. This is a close match to the Band-Aids in my opinion. So both the heart and that smallest bandage die will run through my die cutting machine twice. This is a great way to create fun and easy embellishments for your cards using a few supplies you may have on hand. I'm using foam adhesive squares as the pads, but the die set does come with dies to cut white cardstock for this. And then I'll finish placing the bandages on the cards, and we're going to move on into our third and final card. Now for the third card, I thought it would be fun to create Band-Aids using the Comics 6x6 paper pack from Whimsy Stamps. This reminds me of bandages from the 80s, and I'm sure if I did a quick Google search, I would land on a box of these bandages today. So I feel like a play on the word snap, boom, bam will be perfect with that big BooBoo stamp set. Running this bandage die through the die cutting machine 3 times, make sure the die lines up on the words before you send it through the die cutting machine. So now that I have the bandages cut out, I'm placed a 110-pound card base in my MISTI. I decide exactly where I want the band-aids to be placed, and then I can go ahead and decide where I want my sentiment to go from that big BooBoo stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that sentiment out using VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and then I'm going to come in and add my bandages with mounting foam, and I'm using a T-ruler. So a tip for you is to start with the top bandage and then adhere the bottom bandage and then add the middle bandage. If you get into the habit of adding multiple items to your card in this order, you'll save yourself a lot of headaches because it's easy to adhere that last bandage evenly if the top and bottom bandages are already attached. So to finish off, I stamped a frame around the edge of the card base using detail stamps from the Kiss Off stamp set and a FaDoodle frame stamp set along with that Onyx Black ink. So here's a quick look at the finished cards. These new products from Whimsy sure take the struggle out of masculine get well cards. Let me know what you think about them in the comments below. And for more information on the products you've seen in this video, you can click the links in the description box directly below. I appreciate you so much for spending time with me today. Until next time, please take care.